Hello and welcome to this segment of the Bluestime Power Hour. I'm your host, Eddie J. Flowers III, and I'd like to welcome back those viewers who have tuned in before, and also welcome first-time viewers as we continue to bring blues directly into your home. The purpose of our show is to educate and elevate those music listeners to one of the premier and probably one of the first American heritage musical art forms, the blues. On today's segment, we'd like to highlight a British English guitarist, Mr. Steve Gannon, who I've had the pleasure of listening to in performance, and a real pleasure of sitting in a kitchen of all places and getting an insight to the background of Steve Gannon. By mentioning that he's an English blues guitarist, Steve is a reflection of the influence that American blues artists have had on English musicians. Musicians such as the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, Mr. Eric Clapton, and many, many more, who sat and listened and got their background in music from blues artists from America, brought it back and performed it, and have performed it quite well. Without further ado, let's go directly to an intimate interview with Mr. Steve Gannon on the Bluestime Power Hour. Sitting at the kitchen table with blues guitarist imported from England, Mr. Steve Gannon. Steve, indeed a pleasure.
All right, Eddie. My pleasure, Eddie.
Musically speaking, where did it all start for you, Steve?
Where did it start for me? I mean, back in the 60s, I guess. I was in a cycling club, and one of the older guys in the club had some blues records. That's where I first heard blues. And then I used to check out American blues artists. We got a whole lot of them going through England in the 60s. Muddy Waters, Sonny Boy Williamson, Howlin' Wolf, Buddy Guy, Jimmy Reed. One of those people I got to see over there.
I've occasionally talked to blues artists from here, and they've always related to me that the reception that they've gotten over in England and other parts of Europe seems to be a little greater than the reception they get here. Your opinion of that?
Yeah, that's probably true. They do. I mean, when I first came to Oakland, I was amazed at some of the people that were playing in clubs. I was like, man, who is this guy? Has he got records out? You know, no, he ain't got records. He works in the shipyards down the street. He comes out and sings on the weekend, that sort of thing, you know. People, I thought, man, yeah, there's a whole lot of talent out here that goes unappreciated and unknown, you know.
Back in the, I guess, early 60s, mid-60s, the commercial industry over here had what was known as the English Invasion, led by the Beatles and Rolling Stone, the Yardbirds, just to name a few. Of those groups, the British rock groups as they were classified, how large of an influence did some of the Jimmy Reeds, the Elmore Jameses, the old blues musicians from here, what kind of influence did they have on those young groups?
On those groups, that was pretty much all their influences were. I mean, they'd mix in a little Chuck Berry and Bo Diddley as well, but I mean, their repertoire, all those bands in the 60s had very similar repertoire, and it was just like a list of American blues and R&B. That was it. The Beatles used to have a little show on the radio, like a half-hour show or something, and they used to do all cover versions. This is before I think they were writing as many tunes as they were or whatever. But yeah, they used to do all Motown and American soul stuff.
Now, you said, I think that you told me you've been playing blues guitar for about 15 years or longer.
Longer than mine, more like 25 years now. So, yeah.
Okay. And how have you been accepted in the Oakland blues family, as we can classify it?
Pretty well, I guess. I'm still working after 15 years. I guess they've accepted me. Yeah, I mean, no, to be serious, I've made some good friends out here in Oakland with the musicians. I feel part of the musical community here. I feel very much at home in it, you know. I know a lot of people here.
Now, what's been going on for Steve Gannon, CD-wise, performing-wise, around the Bay Area?
Well, I finally got a CD out, thanks to Cynthia Coleman, who It's got this CD that's supposed to be being sold on the internet. We shall see how that goes. I want to start work on another one. I run the Monday night blues jam session at Larry Blake's, where I've been running that for about 7 years or something now. It's been a while. And Miss D, she comes and sings with us down there. And we want to do a second album, actually. We'll try and take that out somewhere, get some gigs.
So you've been staying pretty active around the Bay Area.
Yeah.
And do you perform on the, I always look for the summer months to be the festival time. Do you perform on the festival circuit?
Sometimes, yeah, I have done. Usually as a member of somebody else's band, you know. I mean, I've appeared at all the major festivals. Monterey, you know, Marin County, San Francisco. Some when I was with Sonny Rhodes, some when I was with Troyce Keys, big band. I did one with Miss D a couple of years ago at Marin, an outfit called the International Blues All-Stars, a conglomerate band. Yeah, I've worked some of them, not as many as I'd like. I need to get some more.
So anybody out there getting ready to put together a blues festival coming up, remember the name Steve Gannon.
Steve Gannon, right. And his wonderful band, yeah. Yeah, come and see us and check us out every Monday night on Larry Blake's. We're down there. Yeah.
All right. Well, Steve, this has indeed been a pleasure. I've enjoyed the insight from the British viewpoint of what blues meant to the development of what we know in this country as the British rock movement. Yeah. I thank you very much.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Steve Gannon.
Once again, and behind-the-scenes interview with English guitarist Mr. Steve Gannon. And I'm sure it came across in the interview, quite a charming personality, an easy gentleman to talk to. Steve presently stays quite busy around the Bay Area, performing with numerous blues artists. He just finished performing with the legendary Jimmy McCracklin. So if you ever see the name Steve Gannon, or look forward to more things from Mr. Steve Gannon. Right now, we're going to take a short pause for the calls, give you time to take care of your personal business, but we'll be right back on the Bluestime Power Hour with yours truly, Eddie J. Flowers III. Welcome back to the Bluestime Power Hour. I'm your most gracious host, Eddie J. Flowers III. And in that interview, I'm sure it came across what a personal gentleman Mr. Steve Gannon is. And it's always fun to go behind the scenes and see the other side of an entertainer. Right now, we'd like to take you on a musical ride up to the city of Berkeley, California. Larry Blake's, located on Telegraph Avenue, right down the street from the beautiful University of California, and listen to him perform with his dynamic blues band. So let's sit back and enjoy the sounds of Mr. Steve Gannon on the Bluestime Power Hour. in tune to the Blues Time Power Hour with your host, Eddie J. Flowers III. And on this segment, we feature Mr. Steve Gannon. Back to this hard driving music on the Blues Time Power Hour. You're listening to the Blues Time Power Hour with Eddie J. Flowers III as we showcase Mr. Steve Gannon. Let's look once again as Mr. Steve Gannon plays tribute to the late, great Mr. Johnny Guitar Watson, only on the Blues Time Power Hour.